Hey guys, Ray Giles here. I'm going to talk a little bit about how to use Excel from standpoint of creating a budget and working with formulas, which is in chapter 2 of our lessons. And then we're going to finish up with a loan payment calculator. Now, very quickly, let's review for how Excel works. 3 ways to work with Excel cells. First one is the select. When you make a selection, you'll see Excel works with columns and row references. That's the beginning of how you know how spreadsheets are laid out. Now, the select tool is really just to make a selection, and let's say if I want to make a selection of a range of cells, you'll see I'm selecting a range from B3 to E3. Excel works with column and row reference, so the current selected cell, as you can see over here in the name box, is cell B3. Now the next way to work with Excel cells is to move. I'm going to make a selection on moving by just going to my border, and you'll see on any part of my border I can move. You see? I'm just moving this around. Now what I'm going to do is make another piece of text over here so you can see what this is going to do. This is the move command. If I want to move a selection of more than one cell, this is called a range when I go in here. See? Now I'm going to move that. See? This is a way for you to select and move. The third and final way to work with Excel is for the copy command. Now the copy command is very powerful, and what that does is copy any piece of information. Now watch, as I move this to the top right hand corner. By the way, if I want to see my information closer or far away, I can hold down my control key and scroll my mouse wheel. As you can see, I'm moving my mouse wheel in and out so you can see how it is. Okay. Now the copy command is like this. Let's say I have the word Monday. You can try this yourself and see what happens. I'll put Monday here, and I'm going to move on the bottom right hand corner. Go to the dot on the bottom right hand corner. Any place on the dot to move, but any place except the dot will move and select your information. Going on the dot, drag, and you can see what's happening now as I drag across. Yes? Now if you have information that gets cut off, you can double click between your columns to get your information to show up. I'm also going to do this another way. I'm going to undo by doing Control Z, and let's see if I can get that back here, and I'll do this abbreviated. Same way, hit enter first, click my cell to select it, go on the dot, drag the dot, and you will see that Excel is intuitive. It knows how to copy information because we assume that if you do Monday, you're going to have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. This also works with the months of the year. I can abbreviate. See? Same deal. Now, this is a way for you to build spreadsheets quickly. That's really where I'm going with this. When you get more experience with Excel and comfortable, you'll be able to do this in a breeze. But really, it's just to give you an idea of how to work with Excel cells. Okay? That's the first way that you can build spreadsheets quickly. It's also good if you have a series. For instance, if I type 101, and then I want to go down and have another series 102. Let's say we have like receipts, okay? And I want to send a bunch of receipts, and I got a spreadsheet. For whatever reason, I want to do this. I have to teach Excel to increment. So what I'm going to do is make a selection of my cells. And I'm going to go down to my dot and copy. I mean, watch how I do this. See, wait for the solid cross. Notice the difference. We're going to do here this copy down, and you'll see we can get this to copy down. It's a very easy program to work with to build spreadsheets that are good for businesses, accounting, different types of spreadsheets that you need to create. You can also do this, 105, and I'll teach Excel again. Now what happens is every 5 digits you'll see this happen. Now remember, it's on the dot that does the copy command. And notice this piece. This piece is called the autofill options. When you click on this arrow, you can either copy the cells, fill the series, formatting only, format without formatting, or flash fill. Right now, we're in chapter 2, so we're really dealing with just how to fill the series or copy cells. If I click copy cells, notice what happens. We'll get 105, 11, 101. So it's just doing what we have done in the beginning. But to do the fill series means that you have a series of numbers that are going up incrementally for whatever reason we have. Okay? That's the first way that you will see Excel being useful to you in working with your projects. Now, another way for us to work with cells is to create a budget, which is what we were talking about in chapter 2. Now, I'm just going to do this really quickly to show you. Anytime you want to get rid of information, by the way, just right click on your cells. You can go straight to clear contents and the information goes away. No need to restart, do anything like that. A budget. Let's do a budget. We're going to say budget here, which is just an idea of how you would set something up, but I thought I would share this with you in a sense. What you want to do is get maybe a daily view of how your expenses or whatever you have, and what we want to do is put the item over here. I'll put the item over here, then I'll go over here and I'll put the cost. And all I'm really going to do is just list out things that we pay. And of course, when you're going down a budget, there's always going to be things you're going to not know about or find out later. But let's just start out with the rent and then go on from there. I'm going to put in here rent. I'll say I got a car note. I have insurance for the car. And I have, what else I got? I got my Con Ed bill. I've got my cell phone bill. I'm sure you know you've got your Visa card. You've got another Visa card. You've got another Visa card. Do I need to say more? Well, really what this is just giving us a basic breakdown of what it is that we're spending on a monthly basis. But the idea is, do you know what you're spending on a daily basis? This is why Excel is useful. How much comes out of your pocket on a typical day? Now, we talk about this, but we really don't know. You know, it's hard to figure it out. So if I were to say, okay, well, I got my rent, so I got to pay my rent. My rent's about $1,500. You know, your rent is your rent. My car note's about $400, and then I've got my insurance. Now, insurance companies bill you maybe once every 6 months. This is where a formula comes into play. Now, if I want to calculate what kind of insurance is on a monthly basis, I have to take my 6-month schedule and say, okay, I'm paying, let's say, $2,000 a month. Okay, I'm going to take that $2,000 and divide by 6. So every formula, remember this, every formula starts with the equal sign or the plus sign, but normally we use equal. So I'll put this formula right here. This is equal to, you got to talk to yourself sometimes when you're doing this, $2,000, which is I pay 6 months, and I divide that. If I'm paying $2,000 every 6 months, what do I divide by? 6. Excel is very good at calculating. It's a number cruncher, so we're going to hit that. It's an average of about $333 a day. A month. And I'm going to take this now and round it off. Now you see, when you have numbers like this and you want to format, this is something that you're learning right now. By making a selection of your information and going up to the dollar sign, you can format, see? And it comes out to dollars and cents. And we can go forward from there because I made a selection of the entire area. What's my Con Ed bill? My Con Ed bill is $300 and something a month. And then I've got my cell phone, which I guess, I'm trying to be cheap with the cell phone these days. And Lord knows we got the Visa card payments, so I'm trying to pay them down, and they love me, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put my money here and go through this and see what we got. Now, of course, I have more information in the budget. I could go on, and believe me, it does get a little challenging when you see all the bills you got, but you're never gonna get a hold of your expenses unless you get a budget together and understand what it is you're basically paying for. So that's an example, and I've got this here. You notice I made it the title bold, and I might add a couple of other things. What else can I think of that, you know, I pay? And of course, we come up with all kinds of things. Um, well, I do have food expenses, don't I? And I've got to pay gas with a car and maybe a few other things. Oh, yes, let's not forget about wifey. Wifey needs money, so I got to give wifey something. I got the kids, I got to give them their allowance. Oh, my goodness, it goes on and on. Well, what do I pay for food? Um, you know, that's a hard way to go. I can't do the monthly, so I got to say, well, every week I'm spending or buying, let's say purchasing. I'm gonna purchase let's say $50, $65 of food every week. What do? I have to multiply. I'm gonna multiply that by how many weeks in the month? 4. See? $260, and of course the format ended, but what I'm gonna do is make another selection, click my $sign at the top, and say this is money. This is how Excel will format your stuff. You can format in percentages, comma separated. If you do comma separated, by the way, you just leave the $signs, okay? That's all it really is. Let me go back and do this guy for money. And I've got gas. I do about 40 bucks of gas a week. Multiply that quickly by 4. Wifey here. Well, you know, I gotta give her some money every week. Wifey gets about 50 bucks a week. I'm gonna multiply that. Yeah, I know. All right, so I'm gonna multiply that by 4, and then of course the kids. Yeah, that allowance. Let's do $25 for the kids. Multiply that by 4, and you know, I gotta total this up. I can't keep going. I could go on and on and on, but you know, let me just give a total to see what happens on a typical month of money that we have to spend. This puts us in control. I'm going to sum this up. Now, by now, you understand how the sum key works. You move over to the top right-hand corner and you click your sum key. What it's going to say is I want to sum the range of C5 through C16. See that? All I'm going to do is hit enter because it's just going to tell me what the total is. And there it is. There's my total right there. And I'm going to take that. And I need to see this on the daily. Okay, that's what I really want to know is what am I spending on a daily basis? If I don't even get out of bed, what comes out of my pocket? And that's what this budget is for. So let's go ahead and put the daily. I'm going to go right next to us here. Hit this and this. And this is equal to, now this is how you do cell referencing. I'm going to click that sum, which is right there, which happens to be C17. And I'm going to divide that by how many days in the month. Let's do an average. There's an average of 30 days in the month, right? Okay, so let's do 30. I'm going to divide that by 30. And what comes out of my pocket? An average of $124 a day is what I usually have to pay out of this expenses. Now, of course, this budget is light. There's more, there's things we can change. But what this does is it gives you an idea of what comes out of your pocket. Now, if you want to adjust anything in here, all you got to do really is say, well, I'll give a little bit less in food. What will I have to do? I can't change this number. I have to come up here and say, well, instead of doing food, I'm going to double click this cell and I'll change 65 to 60 just to see what happens. And when I do that, did you see the total down there change? It'll be 123 a day. And as we go through, and yes, I can reduce anyone's allowance as I go to see, well, this is my budget, but that's a one way to get a budget done. Okay, take a look at that, and then you know you can see how you too can put a budget together really quickly using Excel and formatting. Now, just before we do this next lesson, we're going to take a look at how we put a total row. You're going to come across this area up here. It's called the style section. I'm going to select the total by doing this. This is just proper accounting when you're going to be making a budget. I'm going to make a border on the top row of total, but I make a selection of both columns. I'm going to go up to the top, and I'm going to take this guy and look at the total row right here. You see how that word total shows up? Make one click, and it actually shows me before I click the cell. Well, that's how a total will be made. Now, as you go forward working with Excel, notice that there are formulas at work, and we're going to be talking about formulas in Chapter 2. Formulas in Chapter 2. Excel will give you very good insight into how to use formulas to make quick calculations. One more exercise that I want to talk about, and that exercise is to make the loan payment calculator. Now, while we take this guy here, let's just scroll down here and I can show you an example of the loan payment calculator. I'll put this inside of the inside of Moodle for you later on so you can see this guy and then you can download it for yourself. But there's basically 3 things that Excel needs to calculate any monthly payment. That's what the loan payment calculator is for. You're going to take out a loan because you got to borrow money to do something. What are we going to talk about? We're going to get 3 things. The rate, that's the interest rate. We're going to get the total of the loan amount, how much we're going to borrow, okay? And then the last thing Excel needs to know about is time. How much time are we going to take to do this? Now, it may not be in this order. When we actually do the monthly payment formula, you've seen this in Chapter 2 already. But I'll tell you what, let's put the rate. The rate is 5%. Now, we can talk about Mr. Banker's money later on, but Mr. Banker wants interest on his money and not borrowing money for free. So we're going to say the rent's about 5%. We're going to say the loan amount's going to be about $20,000. Let's say we're going to borrow 20 grand. And then we're going to say how much time we intend to pay this off. Notice I put the percent sign in this. And that's what you want to kind of know, is to write the percent in. Otherwise, Excel will think it's a whole number. You'll see this when the time comes. But as you do this, you're going to put the time. So let's put the time in here. Let's say we're going to pay this off in 5 years. So we're going to say 5 in terms of years. I'll put 5 in terms of years. And I'll just double click over here and say 5 years. Now, how do we figure out what the monthly payment would be on this guy? Can you see more or less what the payments might be over 5 years? How much a monthly payment would be? Okay, let's check this out. We're going to say monthly payment. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to start the formula off. First thing, equal sign. Okay, we're going to put PMT equals payment. PMT and open parenthesis. What that does is it starts off the payment formula. You'll see the first thing Excel wants to know is what's the rate. We're going to click the rate. And we're going to divide that rate by 12. Why are we going to divide by 12? Because it's an annual percentage rate. You get a percentage rate every month. You get accrued interest on that monthly from an annual rate. Now the annual rate is 5%. We accrue that every month, if you can see. Actually every day, but they're never going to tell you that. Let's go back and hit the comma sign, because that's going to take us to the next part of our equation. And we're going to put the number of periodical payments. That's what N per means. What's the number of periodical payment we intend to make? That will be the years. We're going to click the years. And then we're going to multiply that by 12. Why? Because there's 12 months out of the year and you're taking money out of pocket. Every year you're taking money out of pocket 12 times a year, every month, so that you can pay the loan back. And then we're going to make one more comma. And that PV stands for present value. That's what PV means, present value. What's the present value of the money that you're borrowing right now? Now, you might take an exercise to repeat after me. Money has a time value. You should say that. Money has a time value. Why? Because your money worth today is worth less tomorrow, in which case is why Mr. Banker wants interest on that money so that they can accrue interest. Your money devalues on a monthly basis. Your money goes down. Now, what you're going to do is take this and hit enter. You're going to see a negative number because Excel says you're in debt and you're going to have to pay back this money, and this is what you're going to pay back. Notice it's $377 a month for 5 years to pay off $20,000 at 5% interest. Now, let's change this to a positive number. I'm going to take this guy, double click my formula, and put a minus in front of the P. Minus PMT. That'll give you you're really fooling Excel into thinking, oh, that's a positive number. You're going to be paying $377 a month, but in reality, you're bringing down this debt. And this is what you call a loan payment calculator. Now, there's more ways to deal with this. You know, we can explore much more about how to do this. But once you get a hold of how this works, you can pay off any debt, get your money under control. Between this and the budget, you are in control of your cash in a way you never were before, only because you can see what it's going to take to pay off a debt. Let's say you deal with a credit card. Just for argument's sake, you got a $5,000 credit card. The average interest on the credit card, did you know, is about 19% on any credit card? Did you know that? What if you wanted to pay that credit card off in 3 years? What would you need to pay? If you wanted to pay that credit card off for $5,000 in 3 years, you need to pay $83 a month. That is the loan payment calculator. Now, as with any formula, you can double click it and you can see what makes it work. And that's the power behind Excel. Now, I hope you like this video, and if you do, just give me a like down there, and you can see if you want to use this. Be free to just give me a shout out. Let me know if you want to learn anything else. These two things right here put you in control of your finances, and we will be talking more about how to use Excel to work with money. 90% of Excel is working with money and doing a bunch of calculations to control our budgets. Okay, guys, I'm going to get back to you soon, and we're going to do some other working with Excel and work with some more complex formulas, but this is the beginning of your financial lives. Okay, talk to you soon. Take care for now.